Okay, Cedric, as promised, here is your new song, Love Won't Wait. We didn't get very far. The first thing I want to point out to you, though, is there is a discrepancy between what I printed out for you and what is on the screen. Take a look at the fourth line down. I believe what I wrote on your paper is B flat over F sharp. What I actually meant to write was B flat diminished over F sharp, but you're going to see on your screen it says G diminished over F sharp. So that's even more different. But let me explain. G diminished and B flat diminished are actually the same chord. But diminished chords are actually unique in that they could be named by any note that's in the diminished chord. Now, that's something that I did not mention in your chord video. There is a lot to chords, and more than could have been covered in that 45-minute long video or whatever. But I could take a moment now to explain that. Diminished chords are very symmetrical in nature. So they're very evenly spaced across the diatonic scale. And because of this phenomenon, they could be identified. You could call the chord by any interval in the chord. So if you take a look at a B flat diminished chord, the notes are B flat, D. B flat, D flat, E, and G. Those four notes are in the B flat diminished chord. So that means that chord can be called B flat diminished, D flat diminished, D diminished, and G diminished. You don't have to really understand the theory about that right now. So just take my word for it for the time being. So then why would I call the chord? Why would I go out of my way now to call this B flat diminished chord G diminished when I could have just added the word DIM to your paper and just said, okay, I forgot, I left out the diminished. I called it B flat over F sharp. I left out the DIM. Just add the DIM and we're good to go. So why take the time to call it G diminished? It's because I want you to change the inversion. I want, instead of building the chord from the B flat note, I want you to build the chord from the G, because it has a different tonality. And instead of doing the four note version of the diminished chord, which I also didn't get into in your chord video, I only taught you the principle in the chord video of playing a diminished triad. And what I explained in the diminished triad is that you flat the third as if it's a minor chord, and you also flat the fifth. So let's talk about that. If you play a G chord, if you refer to your scale sheet and you look at a G scale, and you take the first, the third, and the fifth, and you flat the third, and you flat the fifth, that is a diminished triad, a G diminished triad. And then if you play a G diminished triad over F sharp, that's the chord. If you play that out of context, it sounds really weird. It sounds ugly, as a matter of fact, when it's played out of context. But if you hear it against the song in context, it's really quite pretty. Listen. Till I see the morning sun. And it'll even sound better if you hear it from the beginning of the song, because it'll all make sense. Anyway, let's go over each individual chord before we play it along with Luther. We have a D second inversion over B. So here's root position D, first inversion D, second inversion D. A, D, F sharp over B. Then we have a first inversion F. Here's root position, first inversion, and then we make that over D. And then we have an E first inversion. Here's root position. Here's first inversion. G sharp, B, E, over C sharp. And then here's our new chord, G diminished, over F sharp. So I'm going to play it along with the song with no flourishes. I'm just going to play it as basic as possible.
That's what I'm talking about. I need to have you next to me. In more ways than one, and I refuse to leave till I see the morning sun.
And that's how you should be playing this. Play it very, very straight, and then we could go over the embellishments later and, of course, the rest of the song. But this is a great start, and that's your assignment for the week, and I will see you next week. Take care.